This is King Noble, Black Supremacy. With this particular video, I want to talk about how Kid Rock, according to my assessment, is a more accurate depiction or face of white supremacy in America. Now listen to this little speech he gave, this campaign speech, because of course he's trying to get into a particular office. And I heard him out. And what he did was he spoke on white supremacy, or he promoted white supremacy in a very encoded way. And that's what America is. When we talk about the Matrix, we're saying that white supremacy is encoded within society. When you talk about the KKK, the neo-Nazi groups, even the alt-right, you're talking about an exaggeration. You're talking about particular groups who speak on or espouse white supremacy rhetoric and promote white victim consciousness in this country. But white supremacy is not limited to these groups, and it has existed before them, and definitely it will exist outside of them. As you can see within this particular time we live in now, that these white groups have been demonized, where it's good to condemn the KKK. It's good to condemn white supremacists and neo-Nazi groups. You saw Trump doing it. You saw Kid Rock doing it. But this does not remove them from white supremacy fundamentally and in action. While they speak against these groups, they overlook the fundamental white supremacist nature of the system and the society that we live in today, which I think Kid Rock is an accurate depiction of, his breakdown. Because they don't per se call you niggers like those who are out of the closet white supremacists or militant or white extremist. They use words like ghetto, wannabe gangster, single moms, health care for everybody, lazy person trying to live off the system. Because actually health care for everybody, if black people somehow got that free health care, that would be somewhat like reparations. Even though we know the healthcare system in this country kills people because it doesn't really deal with naturopathic methodologies, that it's really pushed. It's an agenda pushed by the pharmaceutical industry, and the politics of the pharmaceutical industry having really nothing to do with health or healing. But that's a whole nother video. If they did provide something that really was free healthcare for blacks, it would be like reparations. And when you talk about single mothers, you're definitely speaking to the black community specifically. So these are code words to attack minorities, disenfranchised and underprivileged groups, specifically black. So they don't just call you a nigger or say I hate black people. They have code words to perpetuate systematic racism. And we heard this in Kid Rock's campaign speech. Now what the white supremacists are doing, the real ones, and I'm not talking about the KKK and all that, that's all staged, that's hyped up. And that's to distract you from the real white supremacy, which is the fundamental way that the system operates. All those groups are distractions. I'm talking about the real white supremacists in the everyday system, the way it runs about. Kid Rock accurately depicts that. Because these white supremacists, they are against black people, and it is enforced systematically. It's a part of the operation. And it's also a part of the indoctrination. So it's massive indoctrination. Because if you look at the Kid Rock speech, he ended up having a picture of Jesus Christ being white that he held over the crowd. That was religious indoctrination into white supremacy. So white supremacy is a part of the church. It is a part of the religion. It is a part of the education system. It's all part, it's imbued within every part of the society that we live in. It's not just one particular group. So Kid Rock just dealt with that so well, that his American patriotism reflects the true white supremacist nature of the system. And that which it was based on and built on. So once again, they are identifying black groups, Black Lives Matter, and they want to throw them in there with the racists as another racist group. Why is that? That's why they saying the Black Lives Matter movement don't matter, because it's just a racist group. And by saying that, they're saying that black lives don't really matter. Kid Rock said we don't have to tell him that black lives matter. But do we have to tell the police officers that are getting off for killing Freddie Gray, the ones that killed Trayvon Martin, do they need to know that black lives matter? Is the relevance of Black Lives Matter limited to Kid Rock's appreciation or respect for black people and his knowledge that Black Lives Matter? So it's completely ignorant that if he knows that Black Lives Matter doesn't remove police brutality and the need for a Black Lives Matter movement. Of course, a culture bandit like Kid Rock knows that Black Lives Matter, because a lot of his swag and his so-called music genius and all that has been borrowed from black culture. So no one should know how much Black Lives Matter than those who have capitalized and aggrandized and enriched themselves off of the semblance of black culture. So Black Lives Matter is bigger than it mattering to one white person. So he spoke against Colin Kaepernick not standing up for the flag, because he don't understand that the United States flag, the flag of America, is a flag of white supremacy. We're talking about the Confederate flag. Take those down. But the United States flag, red, white, and blue, is a flag of United States imperialism, white supremacy. So we want to get rid of everything that the founding fathers had something to do with. We want to get rid of these racist statues. And it goes back to all of the white people who had slaves, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, etc. Then you also have to get rid of the American flag, because these racists had something to do with that too. The implementation of that. The United States flag is a flag of white supremacy as well. Be not confused. And why they want to destroy the Confederate flag and try to put white supremacy on the South and just put it on extremist groups like the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nation, neo-Nazis, alt-right. They want to put it on them. This country is fundamentally white supremacy, and it is encoded within religion, the education institutions, law enforcement. It's encoded within every aspect of this society to the point now it has a code language that Kid Rock is using up here. When they give you a God, a son of a God that is white, that is really a son of a bitch, but they give you a son of a God. They tell you that he's white, Jesus, and they show you a picture of a white Jesus and put it up there. They telling you God is white and God favors white because his son was white. So that justifies white privilege and white superiority and white domination and white rulership, because God is white, because his son Jesus Christ was white. And the greatest human being or individual who has ever lived and walked the face of the earth on this planet, the most compassionate and sacrificial, loving reflection of morality and righteousness, was a white man that we should all bow down on our knees and pray and worship. See, when you can go and do that to somebody, you don't need the white supremacist movement. You don't need KKK. You don't need the neo-Nazis, the Aryan Nation, the alt-right. You don't need them. Because if I can get you to accept a white God and religion that supports white supremacy, white purity, white puritarianism, then I got you. And I can make you accept that I'm supposed to be in some ruling power and some position of authority and enforcement in government because I'm created in the image and likeness of the God that I taught you to worship that was white. I don't really need a white supremacist group. So don't let them speak against white supremacist group trick you or fool you. They might even say they love black people, but their love of black people don't matter when racism is systematic, it's governmental, it's fundamental, when the founding fathers had slaves and they set up a government to constantly empower themselves, which is working up into this day, up into this point. The system and government that we lived in that we call democracy, that which is really demonocracy, works for white people and keeps white people in power. It's proven to do that. So I think Kid Rock is an accurate depiction. He can speak against black people and minorities by just using cold languages and cold words. He don't have to say nigga. He don't have to say white power. He don't have to say white supremacy. It can all hide behind American patriotism, which it has been doing. It's hid behind free speech. It's hid behind the Constitution. All that shit empowers the white man, period, and has been empowering him within this country and worldwide. Bottom line. That's a reality. So the people who go out and push themselves as being white supremacy and neo-Nazis are really fools, because the system itself is that which maintains white supremacy. These fools want a white supremacy outside of white supremacy, which I can never understand, because they're afraid of blacks taking over this country. No, we ain't did nothing but took over a job. The white man owns this country. His face is on every fucking dollar bill. And then when we get a chance to put Harriet Tubman on it, they start procrastinating and shucking and fucking jiving. They don't even want to put Harriet Tubman on a $2 bill. They wasting time with that. We own nothing in this country. The white man still owns it. Still owns the means of production. And all we do is get a job, and all we do is consume. How can you feel threatened by that? How could you feel threatened by that? As many that we taking a job from you. What you should fear is the day that we take ownership from your ass. What you should fear is the day that we take government from your ass. But a few people getting a job, getting some social services, getting some handouts from the white man, still keeping him in power as a giver, as a distributor of wealth. Don't worry about that. That's no big deal. We still empowering the white man by keeping him in a position to be a distributor of wealth by link cards or EBT or social services or welfare or social security or whatever. We're still allowing the white man to be in power. But when we take government from his ass and we redistribute the wealth, then that's when you should really have a real problem. Kid Rock is an accurate depiction of white supremacy. He's showing you what it really looks like. Cut and dry. To the point. And I think a lot of white extremists agree with him. And that's the crazy thing about it. These so-called people like Trump and Kid Rock can speak and condemn white supremacist group, but still speak that language and still speak that code language where they agree what they're talking about. They said, you know what, I'm not going to say white supremacy, but every issue that's important to you, I'm going to run that issue into the ground. Y'all tired of these immigrants taking your jobs? Get these fucking immigrants out of here. Y'all tired of black people with affirmative action? Get that out of here. That's victimizing white people. Let's remove affirmative action so white people can get the damn job again. Every fucking issue that's important to white supremacists, these individuals is running on that. So while they condemn white supremacy, they support them legislatively on every issue. They support them. This is King Noble Black Supremacy. Join my website, www.kingnoble.uncensored.com. Donate and don't hate. A lot of videos I'll be doing. You want to see where I'm getting these ideas from to do these videos. I'm doing a lot of uploading at www.kingnoble.uncensored.com. So if you want to go over there and watch some of the videos, because I've been getting a lot of attacks on YouTube with certain videos that I upload. So how I fix that problem is I'm just uploading them to my website. So if you want to get involved in the stream of consciousness of which these videos are coming out of, you need to go ahead and join my website at www.kingnoble.uncensored.com. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube page, King Noble Guru. Subscribe now. Hit the notification button. Make sure you turn your notification on so every time I do a new video, you'll be the first one to find out and get notified on the fact that a video just came out. This is King Noble Black Supremacy. Peace.